G'day everybody and welcome back to part 3 of the Mount Rushmore for all the 18 AFL clubs. So far we've done Adelaide Crows and Brisbane Lions, so make sure you head back to the YouTube channel to check those ones out if you haven't already. And today we're up to Carlton, and this was very, very difficult. As outlined previously, the criteria for this was they had to be past players and they had to be players that I'd seen play. I didn't want to use players that I didn't see play, even though I knew they were great, but I'll be going off stats. I didn't think it was a fair comparison. So they must be players that I had seen play, so I can make a bit more of an informed judgment on them. But this was a really, really tricky one because they had some star-studded lineups throughout the 90s, the Blues, and there's maybe a bit of a controversial call in there and some big omissions. But with that said, let's get stuck into it. The first player to appear on the Carlton Mt Rushmore for me is Stephen Kernahan. I don't think you could go past him. He's just the iconic figure of Carlton. And, you know, when you talk about full forwards, it is out of probably he and Favola in terms of people that I've seen playing. But based on the pure numbers, Sticks has him covered by quite some margin. So he played 251 games for the Blues for 738 goals, which is just a crazy number. Two-time AFL Premiership player, All-Australian team in 92 and 94, three-time Robert Reynolds Trophy, the Carlton leading goal kicker 11 times, which is staggering, and it's a crazy achievement. The Carlton captain from 87 to 97 in the Blues team of the century, and you couldn't pick a better person to be on Mount Rushmore to symbolise the Blues, I don't think. So Sticks Kernahan, you're on the Carlton Mount Rushmore. Now, the second player to appear on the Blues Mt Rushmore is one of the greatest fullbacks we've ever seen, Stephen Silvagni. You couldn't do a Mount Rushmore for Carlton without him, I don't think. His numbers, again, speak for themselves. 312 games, 202 goals, which was quite surprising, to be honest. I didn't realise he drifted forward that much to kick that many goals, but there you go, 202 goals. Two-time VFL AFL Premiership player, two-time Robert Reynolds Trophy, Carlton Life member, the vice-captain, 5 times All-Australian team. He's in the AFL team of the century as the fullback. He's had Mark of the Year, an AFL Life member, and he's also in the Carlton team of the year as the fullback. He's just one of those players that sticks out in my mind anytime you think of Carlton throughout the 90s. He was always the main man stopping us. He was always the one shutting down Rich O and doing things like that. So Silvagni gets the nod for me in a spot on the Carlton Mt Rushmore as he does a stellar job at the fullback spot. Now this one, the third spot, is where it may be a little bit controversial just because of maybe the lack of games, but I don't want to dilute his importance to not only the game of football, but to Carlton themselves. Greg Diesel Williams is a fantastic player, and I've got him on the Mount Rushmore, and this one could cause some arguments amongst people, but for the Blues, he had 109 games and 89 goals, so not on the higher end, but I think when you think about the sheer impact he had for Carlton during his playing days with his the way he accumulates the ball, gets those quick handballs out, he just made that team a whole lot better and was allowing other players to shine, which I thought was a pretty important thing to do. So while at the Blues, he did win a Brownlow medal. He did finish in the All-Australian team twice while at the Blues. He won the best and fairest, won the Premiership in 95 and the Norm Smith as well. So he's in the Carlton Hall of Fame and their team of the century. So they obviously still value him high enough to be in their team of the century. So hopefully me having him on their Mount Rushmore doesn't get me in too much trouble. But yeah, I think his impact speaks more than maybe what his numbers suggest from a game sense. But Diesel Williams is on the Carlton Mt Rushmore. And the final spot, this final spot, it honestly could have gone to quite a few people. So I want to give some honourable mentions. Chris Judd didn't make it. Now, my personal view is he did his best work at West Coast. He played well at Carlton. I thought he was a bit better of a player at West Coast. Scott Camprielli could have made it. Craig Bradley, Favola, like I said before. They had some seriously good players throughout the years, but I think when you think of Carlton in the 90s, this man sticks out in mind as one of the most prolific, ball winners and icons of the Carlton Footy Club. Anthony Koutafidis, I think he's very symbolic to the Blues. He's an absolute powerhouse of a player, kind of the start of that hybrid big-bodied midfielder at 191 centimetres and 98 kilos. Crazy stats. So he played 278 games for 226 goals. The Robert Reynolds Trophy 2 times, 2-time All-Australian, Carlton captain from 2004 to 2006. He actually won the Carlton leading goal kicker in 1997, believe it or not. Won the flag in 1995. He's a Blues Life member, AFL Hall of Fame inductee. I just think, yeah, he's probably more of an iconic figure. Maybe on pure numbers, there might be some other Blues players out there that could replace him. But like I said, these are just the players in my mind that stick out, that when I think of Carlton and when they were dominant, that they're the kind of the players that I look to. So there you go. There's my Carlton Mt Rushmore side. Maybe a couple of controversial calls. Let me know in the comments below who you would have gone with for the Blues Mt Rushmore. And make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And we'll see you for the next one, which will be Collingwood.